What's going on, folks? My name is Spice, this is Spice Can't Fish, and today we've got yet another unboxing for y'all. Now I think this is probably going to be the last unboxing video for this year, at least for a little bit. I tend to do most of my unboxings this time of the year over the winter time when I can't obviously get out and do some bass fishing. But as of me filming this video, I've already filmed one fishing video for the year, so I'm hoping by the time this video comes out and you guys are seeing this footage, I'll have like 3 or 4 videos saved up for you guys. And instead of just unboxing fishing lures, we'll actually be able to go out and use some of the fishing lures we unboxed. But for the last unboxing of the winter season this year, I figured we may as well do another one of these 6 cents bait box unboxings. If you guys saw a few videos ago, I actually did another one of these unboxings on the smaller size bait box. That one came with about $60 or so worth of baits. You guys seem to like that video, and one of you guys actually told me that one of the bigger boxes you end up getting like $130 or $140 worth of baits. And he said that this box was actually a really good deal. He said he got a couple of different swim baits in his version of the box, so I figured I may as well pick up one of the bigger $130+ boxes. Now these things usually run you about $100. I actually picked this up because it was on sale. They're having a sale at the Dick's Sporting Goods near me on these boxes, so I got some money off on it. But I figured it was a perfect time to get this, since again it was on sale. I was going to save a little bit of money that way. I knew this was going to be a pretty solid selection of some baits just based off of what I was hearing from one of you guys. You guys seemed to like the last video of me unboxing the last bait box. I certainly enjoyed unboxing all those baits, so I figured we may as well grab another one. We'll close out this unboxing season on a high note. But yeah, the first time I did one of these videos, we actually got box number 1. This time I made sure to grab a different number, so we got box number 3. Again, this is a different size, so I figured it would probably have some additional lures even if we did get the same number box, but I figured we may as well grab a different number just to really switch up the variety. But yeah, this thing says it comes with like 10 to 16 baits in it. Supposedly it's gonna have a $130 value, and so yeah, I'm really excited to see what we got coming in this box here. But yeah, if you guys didn't see the last video, the way that these things usually go is I'm just going to start reaching into this box and grabbing a bunch of random stuff out. I'm just going to talk about every single bait that I pull out, what I think about it. But I'll have the price for every single one of these baits popping up so you guys know how much each of the baits would have cost you individually if you were to pick them all up. And I'll add them up at the end of the video, so there'll be like a total amount for how much the entire box would have cost you if you were to go out and buy every single one of these baits by themselves. But yeah, we have got quite the selection of baits in this box. So we're going to start off with this guy. We got ourselves one of the Duke 55s. This is their lipless crankbait. I actually got one of these in a different color in the other box. This is the Rainbow red color, so it's like a bright red crawfish color. Again, it's the Duke 55, so it's a 55mm. It's a 3/8 ounce size lipless, and that thing looks absolutely fire. I haven't had a chance to throw the Dukes around all too much. Again, I just got my first one in that last video. Or I should say that last 6 cents box unboxing video. But now we got a second one in a different color. This one's an absolutely fantastic color for this time of the year. Definitely going to be throwing this thing around here soon within the next week or two. I know actually exactly where I'm going to be tossing this thing around here coming up soon. But yeah, got ourselves a sweet little lipless in that bright Rainbow red color. I'm super stoked to throw that thing around. Alrighty, next up we got ourselves a pack of the Bongo, which is kind of like their Rage Menace style bait. This is the 4K bluegill color, so super natural, good looking color there. Again, these are kind of like the Rage Menace. You can use them as just like a jig trailer. You can use them for flipping, you can use them as a swim jig trailer, a chatterbait trailer. They're super versatile baits. These ones just tend to have a little bit bigger of a kicking appendage on them. So they should have a good amount of action. I'm really excited to throw these things around. I don't think I've thrown the Bongos at all or really even seen too much about them. But yeah, just look like a super versatile bait. Again, you can use these pretty much as a trailer for any kind of jig. You could also use them for flipping and pitching, but I'll probably use them as a jig trailer first and foremost. But yeah, don't really have too much to say about them. Again, just a really versatile little bait from 6 cents. But yeah, that 4K bluegill color is fantastic looking. It's kind of like a green pumpkin on one side and then more of like a yellowish goldish on the other side. A little bit of a brighter color than like a perfectly natural green pumpkin, but still looks super natural. I think they'll do a great job imitating like a bluegill or some sort of a crawfish or something. But yeah, I could see this being an absolutely money trailer on the back of a chatterbait or a swim jig or something like that. That's going to be absolutely killer in the spring. Alrighty, next up we got ourselves one of the Quake 80s, which is their bigger size lipless crankbait. These ones actually suspend though, so that's really interesting. This is the Shab Burst color, so this is a really interesting bait. Like I said, it's actually a suspending lipless crankbait. You're supposed to kind of throw this thing out, and as the back of the package says, just kind of like sweep your rod in like 4 to 5 foot intervals, and the bait's just gonna shimmy, and then stop and just kind of pause there in front of the fish. Again, kind of similar to how you would fish a lipless crankbait, but it's not gonna have like that yo-yoing retrieve. It's just gonna kind of stay more suspended in the water, kind of similar to like a jerk bait. So it's a really interesting bait. Again, it's also the 80 size, so it's a little bit bigger than your normal lipless crankbait as well. Should be really fun to play around with this thing in the spring and summertime. I'm really not sure how or when you would use it, like what the application would be for this thing necessarily. But I can see it working really well around like some shallow grass beds, anything with like grass down to like 4 or 5 foot. This thing I think is supposed to suspend around that 2 to 3 foot range. So if you're fishing grass that's any deeper than like 3 foot, this thing could definitely be a player. That could be really interesting to throw around in a little bit deeper water. But yeah, regardless, really interested in trying to throw this thing around a little bit, see what it's made of. Again, I've never seen like a suspending lipless for the most part, so we'll see if this thing actually suspends. The only other suspending lipless that I've ever seen never actually suspended. It was just more of like a slow sink. But if this thing actually suspends like a jerk bait, then this will be a really interesting bait to throw around, so I'm interested to see how it does. Alrighty, next up we got ourselves another one of the Munch 40s. This is another bait that I got in that first box, but a little bit of a different color. This is the Shad Scales color, which looks absolutely fantastic. I think Shad Scales is just kind of like their 4K shad color, but then they add a bunch of reflective scales on it just to give it a little bit of extra flash, make it a little more lifelike looking. But the Munch is just kind of like a smaller profile shallow diving crankbait. I think it only goes down to like 2 to 3 foot, so it's just kind of like a shallower running square bill. Should be great around any sort of shallow cover, wood, grass, rock, you name it. This thing should be absolutely fantastic around it. But yeah, I haven't got a chance to throw the Munches around at all. Again, I got one other one in that other 6th Sense box, but these are the only 2 that I've ever had the opportunity to try, so we're definitely going to be throwing these things around at some point in the future, especially because with all these boxes and stuff, I feel like I have a ton of 6th Sense stuff now, so you guys are definitely going to be seeing a lot more of these square bills and crankbaits and stuff on the channel. Alrighty, next up we got another bait I've never heard of. This is the Hyperjerk 70. I don't know what the hell this thing is supposed to be. It looks like a jerk bait, but doesn't have a lip on it. Supposedly this is just supposed to be jerked like right underneath the surface of the water, so I guess it's like a subsurface bait or like a almost top water. It says by using quick twitches, jerks, and pops of the rod, the Hyperjerk will dive and dart below the surface. So I imagine it floats normally, and then when you twitch and pop your rod, it'll jerk side to side like a jerk bait or a fluke, but it'll stay just subsurface like a top water. So that'll be really interesting to throw around. Again, I've never heard of this Hyperjerk before. This is also in the Shad Burst color, so the same color that we got that Quake in, but it's a really interesting color. I really haven't been talking too much about the colors on these things, but they're all super lifelike. But yeah, that Shad Burst in particular is a really great looking color. It's got kind of like an olive back with like a nice black stripe. Does a really good job imitating like a shiner or something. This will especially do a great job imitating these little fathead minnows and stuff that we have around here in the ponds. There's a ton of those little minnows that just have like that little black stripe across their body, and that'll do a great job imitating one of those up along the surface. So I'm really excited to fish this thing up around shallow, along some shallow weed beds and stuff in the summertime. I feel like this could be a really sneaky bait that we'll definitely have to be throwing around to see if we can get a couple of fish to bite it. But yeah, another new 6th Sense bait. This one I've never heard of before, so we'll definitely have to throw this thing around a little bit and see what I can do. Alrighty, this is a bait that I've kind of fished, but not this exact version of it. This is the Crush, which is one of their most well-known crankbaits. I fished the little square bill Crushes, obviously. This is the Mini 25 MD, so it's a medium diving version, but a super small body profile. This little tiny bait is smaller than most square bills that you see on the market, but it'll go down to 7 foot apparently, so that's super sweet. I'm excited to throw this thing around a little bit deeper. You never really see a crankbait in this small of a profile that goes down that deep. Usually a crankbait of this size will go to like 2, maybe 3 foot, but to have a small body profile crankbait like that that goes all the way down to 7 foot, that's gonna be a sneaky little bait. Again, any body of water that'll get down a little bit deeper than like 5 or 6 foot, like what we normally have around here, this is gonna be killer. I feel like anything where it goes down to like 6 or 7 foot, this is gonna be a sneaky little bait that almost nobody's throwing. And when those fish are feeding up on little tiny bait fish, this is gonna be a great little imitator of those things. This is the Spanish Pearl color, so it's just kind of like a super bright white. Got a little bit of like a pink iridescence in it and almost like a minty green to the top of it as well, but overall just kind of like a bright white color. But yeah, overall looks really good. I'm super excited to throw this thing around. Like I said, I've thrown the Crushes around a little bit, but just haven't thrown around like the deeper diving versions, and certainly haven't thrown one of the little tiny deeper divers like this. I'm really excited to see what we can do with this thing in the spring and summer. Alrighty, the only other pack of soft plastics in here is actually a new bait for me as well. This is the Boosa Ned, so this is their 3.3 inch Ned rig bait. I actually put a color name on this thing. It just says exclusive color, but this is a really odd looking color. I'm gonna have to pop one of these things out because I can't exactly make out what that looks like. Whoa, that's nuts. Alright, I don't think you guys can really make out this color on camera, but it's like a green pumpkin base, but on one side it's got like a bright green iridescence to it, and then on the other side it's got like a blue tealish iridescence to it. it's so strange. If you look at it like not in the light, it's just like a normal green pumpkin more or less with like some purple and gold flake in it. But once you get it caught in that light, you can really see the different iridescent colors and stuff. That's so cool. Again, I have no idea what they would consider that color. That is super sick. I've never seen a color like that before. But yeah, other than that, it's just a Ned style bait. Looks like it's got a good amount of action in the tail right there. Just holding it, it seems like that tail just wants to undulate side to side, but just like a 3.3 inch size little Ned worm. And yeah, it's a great little bait. I feel like Ned rig baits are kind of just one and the same. Once you've seen a few of them, they all kind of look the same, but this one has a little bit of a different profile to it. But it should look good on a little Ned rig head or even like a finesse shaky head or something like that. Definitely excited to get these things in the water, see if we can catch a couple of fish on them. But yeah, just a new little Ned rig presentation from 6th Sense. I've heard of these Boosa worms before, especially like the larger sizes, but just haven't really picked up a pack of them at all. Especially the Ned rig ones. I feel like I don't throw Ned rig too much, and when I do, I'm usually just throwing the Z-Man stuff because it feels like that stuff works better than most other Ned rigs. But we got a bunch of other Ned rigs from a bunch of other bait companies, and now we got the 6th Sense version. And yeah, we're definitely gonna have to throw these things around a little bit. That tail especially looks like it's got a good amount of action to it, so I definitely have some high hopes for this bait. Again, just never thrown them, never really looked into them all too much. Again, they have a couple of different sizes of these Boosa worms. They've got the Boosa Ned and then the regular Boosa worm, which is kind of like a normal shaky head style worm. But yeah, now we got a pack of the little Boosa Neds to try out, so definitely excited to throw these things around some smaller ponds, maybe some rivers and stuff, see what they can do. All right, I got 3 more baits in here. Next up, we've got a little 6th Sense Vega frog. So this is their normal, or I guess their poppin' style frog. This is just their black magic color, so it's just a perfectly black frog. Nothing super special about it, it's just a really high quality frog. If you guys haven't thrown the Vega frogs, they're really, really good. The only time I ever bust them out or break them or anything is if I get them stuck in a tree somewhere and I'm like ripping them super hard. But usually I'll break the frogs off before I actually damage the frogs to the point where I can't use them anymore. So yeah, this is perfect. This black magic color should do absolutely killer in the spring and summertime. Again, I usually like to opt for a black frog a lot. But yeah, this black magic color should be absolutely perfect. Again, a lot of the time I will be opting for a black or a dark profile frog, so this should fit into the arsenal nicely. And I don't think I own one of the Vega frogs in black, so finally have one now to add to the collection. Alrighty, the second to last bait in the box is going to be this guy. This is the hybrid swim crank, which is kind of like a mix between a swim bait and a crankbait. I've actually got one of these guys, just not this color. This is the 4K bluegill color, so a little bit more of like a natural bluegill color. And again, I've got one of these things, haven't caught anything on it, but I have thrown it around a little bit. They seem like they're pretty solid little baits. I'm really excited to have another one in the arsenal, especially in such a great little color. And yeah, this is kind of like a smaller, finessier swim bait. It's kind of like a larger profile wake bait if you're just throwing conventional stuff, but for someone who throws a lot of swim baits, this is kind of like a finessier like wake bait or swim bait. These things only weigh 5/8 of an ounce, so you can throw this on normal conventional gear, but really sweet little bait, honestly. Again, I threw it around for like 1 day, I think. I bought it while I was down in Florida. Threw it around a little bit to try and get a topwater bite going. Didn't end up catching anything while I was down there on that bait, but again, looked pretty good in the water, and now we got a second one in a little bit more of a natural color. I think the other one that I have was just kind of like a natural shad color, so we got a shad one, now we got a bluegill one. Should be perfect, should cover just about all of our bases. And actually, speaking of shad swim baits, we can talk about the last thing that came in this box, which is this guy here. This is the 6th Sense draw. This is the 6.5 inch size, so this is the smaller size of the draw. This is in the 4K shad color. Funnily enough, I actually have one of these draws, but the full 9 inch size, and it's actually in the exact same color. So now I've got 2 4K shad draws, which is kind of funny. Got the bigger one and the smaller one. But again, they're really cool little baits. It does take a second to get the proper cadence down, at least with the bigger one. I've heard these smaller ones are a little bit more manageable, a little bit easier to work. So now we got a smaller draw to throw around and see what we can do with this thing. I'm kind of excited to get this thing in the water. Again, I wasn't ever really expecting or thinking about picking up one of these smaller draws because I already have the bigger one and I've caught some like 2 to 3 pound fish on the bigger one. So, and since I was catching normal like 2 to 3 pound size fish on the 9 inch, I figured I may as well just stick with the 9 inch since it's fun to throw. And yeah, I just never decided to pull the trigger on the 6 inch, but now that we got one, I'm certainly going to be throwing it around a little bit. Sorry, I should clarify, it's a 6.5 inch bait. I keep saying 6 inch, but it's 6.5 inches. Just a little finessier style micro glide bait. That thing looks pretty sweet. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the 6th Sense $130 size bait box. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Honestly, I was really stoked about how that box turned out. I think every single bait we got in this box was absolutely killer. Knocked it out of the park with every single color, every single kind of bait. The variety was fantastic. Got a couple of baits for shallow water, a couple of baits for deep water, got some soft plastics, got a big glide bait. The only thing I was hoping for was maybe some sort of a jig in the box, whether it be like a finesse jig or a football jig or a swim jig or something like that. That would have been kind of cool to see. But everything in the box was absolutely killer. I got no problem with anything that we got. We got a couple of baits I've never heard of. We got a couple of baits that I've thrown around quite a bit. A couple of things in some really sweet looking colors. So I'm really excited to throw a bunch of this stuff around this coming year. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me, folks. And again, I think that's going to do it for the unboxings for the year. I might do like another unboxing or two here or there throughout the fishing season, and if I need to go pick some other stuff up. But overall, I think that's going to pretty much do it for the unboxings this year. And I think starting up here the next couple of weeks, we should just be able to get out and do some actual fishing. But yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button if you did. Subscribe if you want to see some more content from me. Check them and wreck them, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.